everybody, and welcome to another study session of Unreal Engine 4, where my friends Strange Bro Jim and I are learning how to use the Unreal Engine. We're continuing with working with audio still on audio attenuation, and I still haven't checked if he's already getting his part of the intro out of the way. So while I load up his stream on the side, I'm gonna do my little solo speech. Of course, I think he's getting ready for it. Down in the description below, there's a link to the Power Shop where you can purchase energy mixes, neat mixes, hydration, and even shakers and even stickers. And if you use code Blackheart, you will get a 10% discount on your purchase and help support the channel in the process. And now let me hop on to the Discord stage because he is getting his end started. Just give me a second that I get that up on. Get on his stage. No, wrong channel. I almost entered the wrong thing. Ah, there it is. Got the.
Yeah, my webcam at this moment in time. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this fixed again. Hold on.
Sorry for the fan on the background. It
likes to
a
do
little hot
this
today.
for some reason. It turns off whenever I do a scene switch. There we go.
Might as well do this scene right now.
Welcome back to another Unreal study session. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and we're going to be joined by Blackheart. I see him already in the stage. I'll be with you in just a second there, Blackheart. So today we're going to be continuing our study of audio and the Unreal Engine. We're working our way through studying all the documentation, or at least, well, maybe not all the documentation, but as much as we can to kind of prep ourselves before we really tackle making something. Because if we try to create something right now without knowing the engine that we're using, then we're just going to be making a lot of mistakes and just making it harder for ourselves. So we're studying the documentation. We're trying to learn as much as we can about it first. And not to say that we won't make mistakes when we start building, but at the very least, we're going to try to mitigate at least some mistakes. So here, the idea is we'll study the documentation. We'll get ourselves prepped with all the different topics that are available through their 4.27 documentation, which you can follow along with us if you want. Prep ourselves for making a clone game, and then eventually we'll start, building our own. So that's the plan. So hopefully you'll continue to join us on this endeavor on studying, building a clone, and then start working on a game for ourselves. But with that being said, let me go ahead and invite Blackheart in to speak. There we go.
Hello. How you doing?
Not bad. Oh, there we go. Headset audio set. So everybody can. Hey there, Sturgeon. How you doing, bud? Welcome to the stream. Okay, so where did we last leave off with the sound edition?
A specialization, I believe.
Yeah, was it attenuation or enable?
I think we read that little piece of attenuation. We didn't get to the enable part.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, but I wasn't 100% sure. So, how's the storms out there right at this moment? Yeah. Hopefully no storms right now. Alright. Let's go ahead and get into the enable then, and we'll continue on. Okay.
Yep.
Any concerns or comments that you might have seen there, Bud? Or
Not yet, no.
okay. I haven't received anything on my end either. No comments or anything along those lines on my videos, but it's okay. We'll just keep on plugging away at it. That being said, if anybody's watching right at this moment in time, okay, Blackheart and I, especially in this particular session with the audio, we're not sound engineers. We
Nope.
haven't really worked with any kind of sound, in that regard. So there's going to be, and there was a lot of uh, information presented in this working with audio that we were like, no idea what the heck they're talking about. So we encourage anybody that might be watching this, whether live right now while streaming, or if you're watching these videos later on when we upload them to our YouTube channels, to feel free to, let us know or, explain what we're maybe not understanding, you know, uh, we encourage that. Um, we appreciate any constructive criticism or assistance, especially when it comes to the audio section. So please feel free to speak up. Okay, whether it's right now in the comment section or in our chat, in our live stream chat, or um, in the comments in our videos, because it would be of great help to not only us, but maybe someone else might be watching our videos and they might also not understand. They might not also be sound engineers, so it might help them as well. So they might have the exact same questions that we do. So not only would you be helping us out, but you might be helping out others along the way. So so it's always encouraged to feel free to, put down some comments letting us know, um, you know, uh, hey, if you're not understanding this particular topic, here's how to think about it, or something along those lines, or link us, videos to watch, or other web pages to look at, or something along those lines. Anything that can help is welcome.
Every
Agreed, my
little
friend?
bit helps.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um, so don't be afraid to let us know, like, hey, this is how you have to think about it. So, you know, if you don't know, that's perfectly fine as well. I hope that you're still enjoying our content. So, um, so enables spatialization. Uh, so this property is used to enable or disable spectralization of the sound. When true, the sound will be spectralized from the specific location within the game world and will pan accordingly as the listener moves around. Use this if you want the sound to appear to come from a particular location in the game world, e.g. a spot source sound. So, okay. Will pan accordingly as the listener moves around. Okay. Well, I mean, if you have like surround sound speakers, right?
Yeah.
You have that basically center, front right and left, side right and left, and back right and left, right? Um, if you are kind of circling around, but there was the sound off your right, then the sound, you know, will be, changing its direction, you know, in speakers as well. It will also be moving because that sound location won't move. It's stationary. So you know, the speakers themselves will be receiving that input of sound happening and will, transfer it, to you, you know, to your ears. Um, but obviously, um, the like if you're doing like a 360 and the sound is supposed to be stationary, but you're always hearing it in your right ear, then obviously that breaks immersion, right?
Yeah, something went wrong there.
Yeah. Like if there's like a stationary siren, okay, like tied to a building, okay, and you know you're rotating yourself at 360, you're like spinning in a circle, okay, but you're always hearing that siren sound in your right ear or something along those lines, in that right speaker, then yeah, you're breaking, you know, you're having bad sound design, right?
Yep.
You know, because otherwise, yeah, if you think about it, if if it's staying in your right ear and you're going in a circle, that would mean that the building and the speaker is also, circling you, you know, whether you're going clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever. It doesn't really matter. If it's like always in your right ear, it's like suddenly you're making the building move. And that would be a little freaky. That would be really freaky, to be honest.
Yeah.
um, but,
Hey, that's a good horror game idea there.
yeah, indeed. Indeed. It's not you that's moving, it's the world. And that might be a little trippy. Um, so, but I mean, what that's not necessarily totally incorrect either. If your universe kind of rotates around you, then it would be the world that rotates, right? Sort of. Oh. But we'll move on.
Yeah.
When false, the sound will be non-spectralized, which will effectively become a 2D flat sound, so no panning will be applied regardless of the sound's source position relative to the listener. The exact nature of this process will depend on the configuration of your speakers and the format of your sounds. For example, if you're using stereo playback, then a mono sound would be upmixed to stereo, while quad, 5.1 and 7.1 sounds would be downmixed to stereo. You can set the method used when upmixing mono sounds within project settings in your audio quality mono channel upmix method. You may need to expand the quality section using arrow. Okay. Again, upmixing and downmixing is a little... I'm not quite sure exactly what they mean by that in particular, or at least I'm not remembering what they mean by that. Do you remember?
No, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know if they've covered up mixing and down mixing before.
I know they mentioned it. I don't know if they covered it.
Yeah, I don't think so. So that's one thing that could be helpful. If anybody has a comment, feel free to let us know what those mean in terms of audio, obviously. So use this if you don't want the sound to come from a particular location in game world, such as an area loop or room tone. Okay, specialization method. This property allows you to define which panning method you want to use when specializing the sound. Ugh, I can speak. Currently, there are two options. So, panning. This is the default and uses Unreal Engine 4's standard panning method to calculate spatial positioning. When using this method, you can define as a global project setting whether to use linear or equal power panning. Okay. Use linear or equal power panning? I hope they cover those a little bit later because I don't really understand
Hopefully.
what they mean by linear or equal power.
I don't know.
Um, I mean, they talked about linear up here, you know, at the very top, you know, under the attenuation function. But I
Yeah.
don't think that's what they mean by linear, because again, there's no equal power in the attenuation function.
No.
So I doubt that that's exact. You know the you know they're talking about that particular topic in question. Um, so yeah, that's I'm kind of curious about this. Hopefully, it'll cover it a little bit later. But obviously, they're not doing that now. So
Yeah.
uh, this can be found within the project settings. Blah blah blah. All these particular steps to get to this particular panning method portion of the menu system. You may need to expand the quality section using the little arrow. This method is the best one to use if playing back over loudspeakers. Okay, in what way?
Um. What? That feels like it needs more explanation.
Yeah, you know, what did they mean by playing back over loudspeakers? Did they mean loudspeakers in game? Or did they mean like loudspeakers um, in your surround sound or something like that? And if so, again, how, you know, what exactly are they talking about here? um, you know, what do they mean? Um, Now, okay, now when I think of panning, bear in mind, I think of visual panning, where you're basically saying, okay, um, you know, I have a video recording camera, or you know, I'm using my phone or something like that. I'm recording video, and I'm moving the recording device, whether it's camera, phone, whatever, you know, along, you know, like I'm changing the focus of it from like one spot. I'm moving it to like another spot to be visually focused on, right?
Right.
Um, like if you like have a crowd of friends kind of thing, or like a group of friends, and you want to just kind of record like everybody's like you know face, like just their face, right? You know, obviously that's kind of hard to do in a you know, you can record their faces with a wide shot, but you know, maybe you want to go in for close-up shots, right? But you know, you can't necessarily do a close-up shot with everybody's face. It doesn't really work. So you want to try to pan the device to kind of cover everybody's face one by one, you know, showing everybody's face as you go along, right? Um, Now, I don't know if that has the same kind of definition in the audio sense. Um, like like I would imagine, you know, just hypothetically, a panning of an audio would be like, hey, here's this audio coming from front of us, right? You know, we can hear it clear as day. It's coming from in front of us. But we want to say rotate to our left, right? We're going to kind of rotate our perspective to the left. Well, the sound, instead of being right in front of us, would have to switch over to our right ear, all right?
Right.
So it would be panning, to the front right speaker and then to the side right speaker, if we're using surround sound, right? So the sound itself could be panning in that regard, right?
Right.
I don't know if that's what they're talking about here. It's the only thing that I can think of. It's an educated guess, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like they're really, you know, they're not saying that in this section. Or at least it doesn't feel like they're saying that. Do you agree with me in the fact that it doesn't feel like they're mentioning what panning is at all, or
Yeah, I feel like it's lacking details.
yeah? So I would hope that my if I would hope my educated guess is spot on, but I don't know. Now, obviously, we can definitely test this out, when we, start building a game, the clone or, our own personal game. We can definitely try to check on that and see if it is indeed, what we think it might be. But it'd be just nice if they actually had some form of, further explanation there. That's all. So, and it also looks very similar in this um, binaural. So, um, so binaural uses whatever binaural plugin you have enabled to handle the spatial positioning of your sound. Plugin can be set with blah 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 blah. You can use the built-in spatialization plugin or enable a third-party one via the plugin's window. This method requires playback over headphones as uh, binaural panning does not translate well over loudspeakers. Huh? Wait, what? Uh,
I don't know what they're trying to say there.
yeah. Again, it's another one where it's like, wait, why would it work over headphones but not over loudspeakers? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So there's something going on with this that I'm not 100% sure what they're talking about here. So I'm hoping maybe we'll figure it out sometime in the future. They'll explain this a little bit better. But I mean, this was the place for them to really explain it, and so
Yeah.
far they really didn't do a good job.
No.
So again, if anybody knows, feel free to leave it in a comment section, chat, whatever. Would be welcome. So okay. Well, I guess we'll just move on.
Yeah.
Non-specialized radius. The property defines the distance threshold below which the sound will start to transition from being specialized to non-specialized. Excuse me. Becoming a 2D sound. This is useful for preventing sudden, if not jarring, jumps in the spatial positioning of a sound when close to the source. And it is also useful for helping large sounds fill the spatial field when up close, such as large machines, waterfalls, etc. Okay. Um, I'm not quite sure what they're really talking about here.
I'm not sure either.
mean, a 2D sound. Again, with the 2D sound, I'm not quite sure what they're really kind of referring to in that regard. Like, okay, so specialized, whatever, however you pronounce it, is supposed to be kind of filling in that area, right? Kind of saying like, hey, if you have a specific area, it just kind of fills in that area, right?
Right.
If I remember correctly, that's the definition that they that um, spatial is all about. Um, so when it's non, meaning that it's not set to um, fill that area, it's saying that it's a 2D sound. What do they mean by that? It's like you're getting hit with like a wall of sound, like you pass a wall of sound for like a split second, you hear you hear like the sound go whoop, and that's it. You're done, and no more sound. When you pass that 2D wall or something along those lines, it's like I'm not quite sure exactly what they're kind of talking about here, or how, really. So it doesn't make that much sense to me because it's like sound, you know, depending on where it's coming from is, you know, goes off in a 360 direction, unless of course there's like walls or something like that that prevents the sound from really going through it very well. But still, why, um, why are we, what's with this 2D sound all of a sudden? What's that all about?
We might need to look into it at some point ourselves. Maybe a
Yeah.
video that explains it better.
Yeah. Especially saying it's like, it's also useful when helping large sounds to fill the spatial field when up close. I mean, what's the difference? Why would you want to, if the sound is, already spatial in regards like, such as large machines, waterfalls and stuff like that, it's already kind of, encapsulating that area of effect, then, what's the difference when you want to try to switch it over to the non-specialized? It's like, what's going on there? I don't know. Not quite sure what they're trying to go for there. Hmm. We'll move on, right?
Yeah.
In the image below, the sound of a large machine has been set to have a non-specialized radius of 450, depicted by a green sphere. When the listener is beyond this, the sound will be spatialized as normal, but as the listener crosses the threshold, all channels of the sound will start to bleed to all channels of the speaker configuration. This process is interpolated, starting at the defined threshold and ending at 100% bleed at the sound's origin. As an example, a stereo sound being played back on a 5.1 system would have its left channel bleed to all 5 channels, and its right channel bleed to all 5 channels. The result of this is a sound that starts to fill the spatial field in whatever speaker configuration you're using. The sound will start to come from all the speakers, giving a much more convincing sense of scale. Okay. Okay, so basically what I'm getting from this, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be. Um, or at least, if you feel like I'm on the wrong track, let me know. So when you're outside the field there, okay, they're basically saying, hey, you're having specialized sound, which means that you know, the sound that you're getting might only go to like one of your channels. Like you're hearing it from the left-hand side, so you're only going to be hearing the sound from more the left-hand side than you are from the right? You probably wouldn't necessarily hear it on your right speakers at all. Um, maybe there might be a little bit of bleed depending on how loud it might be, right? Um, but typically, if you're hearing the sound from to your left, then like, hey, I need to go towards that large sound. Like, I need to go towards to the waterfall. So I hear it off to my left. Let's go to the left and continue walking, right? And then they say when you enter in that sphere that is non-specialized, they're basically saying it's so loud, it is so um, it is so prevalent in that area that you're hearing it all around you. There's, you're basically standing in like right in the waterfall. So now the sound is just occurring all around you. The roar of the water, the overall sound is just coming from all the speakers.
Neither
So,
on one side than the other.
right. Um, so okay, but again, that kind of confuses me a little bit. You know, if you know, if are you in agreement that that's what it sounds like? That's what it sounds like to you, and from what they're talking about, right?
Yeah, it'll sound in every channel, but one will be louder depending where you're facing. But you're still listening through every single channel.
Right. Um. So, but so here's where I'm like, I'm still confused by it a little bit. Is the fact that um the one part that I'm like, okay, why are they addressing it as such, which is this part right here, becoming a 2D sound. What are they talking about here in regards to the non-specialized? Because
Call it the
I mean,
bleed
when
out.
you
Like on specialized, the possibility of sound bleeding into any of the other speakers is just not possible. While 2D allows for the sound to bleed into other channels. Like that's what I'm understanding.
yeah,
That's the only difference, major difference that I'm finding. Like one
yeah,
allows bleeding,
it-
the other one doesn't.
yeah. Um, it's just it feels weird when they are addressing the the one that is allowing the bleed as a 2D. You would think that it would be kind of the exact opposite, you would think, right? That if it's affecting all the channels, if you're being hit from the sound from all directions, you would think that that would be more of a, I guess, a 3D sound. So that's why it's like, I'm a little confused by their
Maybe this is how
but
they simulate the 3D sound, especially when it comes to scale.
hmm, maybe, I don't know, not sure. Um,
Like an example I can think of right now is like say you're inside a closed hangar and there's a jet engine on. That's gonna
Right.
be very loud and it would be like echoing all over the place. And how would you simulate that? Like the non-specialized would be the one helping simulate that because you're getting
Right.
that bouncing echo from the walls while the one from the engine is sounding much louder on depending when you're facing.
Right. Um, yeah. No, so based, they actually gave a good explanation here from the looks of it. Okay. If we are correct in what we're trying to see here, right? Um, my question is, why are they calling um specialized to non-specialized becoming a 2D sound? That's where I'm like, what? You would think that it would be the exact opposite. It's becoming more of a 3D sound. It's you're getting hit with the sound from all directions than just from one source that's more of from like a single direction, right? Um, when I think of 2D, a flat surface, you know, um, you're not really um, when I think of 2D, it's like, hey, I'm gonna pick one direction that the sound is kind of coming from for the most part, um, uh, because that's where the speakers are. You have the left and the right ear for headset, right? So you're either going to be getting the sound from your left or you're going to be getting the sound from your right. There isn't anything like, hey, I'm going to be hearing it from, uh, well, I mean, you could like hear it more at a 3D angle than anything else, but um, maybe maybe that's the trick. Maybe that is what they're kind of talking about, like the 2D sound. Now that I think about it, because if you're hearing it from everywhere, right?
Right.
There's no way to discern um like where the main sound would be like originating from. Like if you enter a waterfall, you're not going to be able to you're not necessarily going to be able to discern like, hey, the waterfall's right above me, or the waterfall's right below me, or waterfall's off to my right or left, or anything like that. It's all encompassing. It's all over the place. So, um, so your left and right ears are being drowned out by the sound, no matter what, and you can't hear like specific like locations like you would if you're like in a 3D space, in a specialized space. So like if you're in a specialized area and you're hearing a sound, it could be, like below and to your right, it could be up above and to your right, same with your left, or, so on and so forth, right? You might hear that sound from like an angled location on the map, especially if you're working in 3D, right?
Right.
So maybe that's it.
Maybe.
Hmm. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know. I'm not. It's the best educated conclusion that I can think of for this moment in time. Would you agree with me, or do you
It's the one that makes the
disagree?
most sense.
Okay. You know, I mean, if you disagree, feel free. You know, obviously, you know, like Jim, you're being stupid. You know, don't forget to speak up if you're, if you feel like I'm on the wrong track along those lines. But I think that's probably what they're talking about. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird way of thinking about the sound, especially when you're like, hey, I'm going into an area where the sound is like all over, like you're just being drowned in the sound. So you would think that you would um, the you would think that it would be more of a 3D sense in that you're basically hearing the sound in all the speakers and in the up and down direction kind of a thing. You would think that it would fit more in a 3D sound uh, uh, label, but at the same time it's like, well, I guess it still works with the 2D. I don't know. um, maybe a little bit more explanation there would be fantastic. So if anybody knows, feel free to leave a comment like always. Um, but I'm hoping that that's correct. I don't know. Let's move on, my friend.
Yeah.
We got a lot to cover.
Oh, definitely.
So, 3D stereo spread. This property defines the distance between the left and right channels of a stereo sound when specialized in the game world. This is useful for creating a greater sense of width and size when using stereo sounds. It can also help mitigate sudden jumps in the spatial position of the source. In the image below, the green and red spheres depict the left and right channels of the stereo sound, which have been positioned either side of the machine through the use of this parameter. Okay. Um, are we gonna have to try to figure out stereo spread? Well, I mean, okay. Obviously, the I would not want to tackle 3D at with just ourselves. Okay. Let me reiterate that to anybody that's watching for the first time, right? Um, I personally don't really want to start a 3D project until we have an established crew team with us. Okay. If it's just myself and Blackheart, I feel 3D would be um, too much of.
Depends on the scale.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'll grant you that. But if it's too much, if we design a game that has too much there, then I wouldn't really want to try to tackle it. Plus, even if we were to try to do a small scale game, we would have to most likely use like free assets, because I'm not going to be able to draw a an avatar or something along those lines, or draw like a gun or whatever we decide to go with, in 3D, and try to make sure that
I guess until I
it
learn
works.
Blender, which I am doing.
Yeah. Um, but um, but I don't know. I'd prefer we start easy first. Start with more of a 2D style game first. You know, Start kind of establishing what we want to work on, what we want to do a little bit more before we start, branching into 3D. And even then, um,
Yeah, it'll be
I,
dependent on
I
the scale of how well we can do.
yeah, and I'd rather have a, more of a team with us, um, to help to help us out. Because I mean, let's face it, you and I, we're going to be coding a lot if we start going into 3D. So,
Yeah.
um, so, um, so I fear, the trying to do a trying to do a 3D game might take a bit of work. Not to say that we can't do it. I'm just saying that um, the scale of what a 3D is larger than what a 2D would be. Okay, that's all. You know, um, anybody that thinks a 3D and a making a 3D game is easier than a 2D game is
Like I
I don't
said, it
know.
all falls down to scale.
Yeah.
Like say we were to make like a 5-minute 3D game, then that can be managed by just 2 people, even 1 person.
Potentially. Especially if we use free assets. Okay, if we have free assets, then yes, that it won't be too difficult. But if we're having to make the assets ourselves, then that ramps up
Yeah.
the what we're gonna be needing to do more, right? Um, because we're gonna have to try to construct the art, the rigging, the um, making sure that the position of whatever we're looking at doesn't destroy the model if we change the position some way or not. Like we look at the gun and the sphere like right above in this image right above.
Right.
Like if we were to somehow change the camera angle so that the gun kind of switches from this right side position over to more of a left side position, and suddenly the gun just kind of deforms, then we got some problems. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, the not to say that 2D wouldn't be difficult. I'm just saying that the um, we would be dealing with more when we're dealing with 3D. That's all. So, um, alright. So, normalize 3D stereo sounds. This property is used to enable or disable a 6 decibel gain reduction applied to stereo sounds when being spatialized in the world. This is useful if you find the sound clipping due to channel summing when the stereo spread reduces to 0, either as a result of the 3 stereo spread property above or through distance-related panning. What the hell is this talking about?
Hmm.
Um,
Flipping.
I don't really know.
I'm not sure. No.
It's useful if you find the sound clipping due to channel summing. Again, I don't know what channel summing is referring to.
Me neither.
When the stereo spread reduces to 0. Which, yeah, I mean, they talked about stereo spread above, and it's like, again, I'm not 100% sure about what they're talking about by the stereo spread. Really? Um, not 100% sure what they're trying to go for with it when it comes to stereo spread, so I don't really
Yeah, I
know.
don't know.
exactly what they're kind of talking about there. So when the stereo spread reduces to 0, either as a result of the 3D stereo spread property above or through distance related panning. Um, hmm. Okay. Um, let me take an educated guess on this and see if you feel like I'm kind of working on the right track here. So stereo spread. Okay, they're talking about how, like, hey, you're standing here, you have a large machine there, and you have this little red and green sphere that is doing a stereo sound. So you're hearing it in the left and right channels, meaning the sound is, coming from in front of you, and you're kind of hearing that machine on both like the left and the right hand side in front of you, right? That's coming from both sides, as a sound. Now you wouldn't necessarily hear from behind you, so there wouldn't be any like bleed effect from the speakers from behind. It's not really doing that, right? So you have the stereo spread from both sides, okay?
Hmm.
That's what I'm figuring here. And again, I don't know if that's indeed true, but it's basically what I'm kind of figuring is the process going on here, right?
Hmm.
So if if suddenly the player, the person there kind of goes more to the right hand side, um like maybe they kind of turn to the left and start like walking towards that red spot, right? Then maybe the sound on the left channel might increase, where the right channel wouldn't really increase per se, right? It might kind of remain the same, if not um, reduce down in overall volume, because the sound um, would be higher in the left channel than it would be on the right. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if this is what they mean by the stereo spread or anything along those lines. I'm just,
I don't think that's
you know,
really what they mean.
I'm not sure. Um, the now the when it says stereo spread reduces to 0, um, when I think of that, I think you have like two channels that are doing the sound, right? Or they have both sounds in the left and right channel. When you have the stereo spread reduces to 0, um, either the sound is like equal in both parts, so you're hearing the same exact sound on both left and right side at, the equal volume, or maybe it refers to one sound uh, takes complete control, where the other sound is like completely gone. You don't necessarily hear it on that channel anymore. So like, for example, your character kind of goes onto the right hand side of the machine here, right? Like your character walks to the right hand side of the machine, and so therefore, the machine itself is like blaring in your left ear, right?
Hmm.
But you might not necessarily hear it in the right anymore. I mean, if you have the non-specialized, then obviously it'll fill everybody up, but or fill all the channels up. But if it doesn't do that non-specialized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, and if you're like getting to a point where like you're on the right hand side, you hear it mainly on the left channel, but you won't necessarily hear it anymore on the right. Could that be a consideration of stereo spread reduces to zero as well? I don't know.
No.
What do you think?
I'm not sure. It could be what you say, but I'm not sure. I might
Yeah,
need to look it up.
I'm
Just straight up.
yeah. Like I said, I'm not saying that my explanation is definitive because I don't really know. I can be completely off base, and if so, I welcome any corrections. Um, but that's what I'm kind of leaning towards. But again, it doesn't really help too much on this normalized 3D sounds anyway. I'm not quite sure what they're really kind of referring to with this last sentence here. Or, just this entire paragraph. I'm like, um, why would you bother with a 6 decibel gain reduction? And what do you mean by gain and then reduction? It's like, I'm gonna gain so much that gets reduced. Wait, what? Obviously, it's probably referring to something else in terms of gain, but I'm still like, you know, what's going on there? What do you mean? What's going on? Um, uh, I don't know, friend. This is we're seeing some very interesting points here.
Yeah.
So didn't really get very far, but obviously
Yeah.
there's quite a few things here that was like on where it's really hitting areas that were like, "Mm, what are we looking at here?" So, uh, so we haven't covered much, and unfortunately it is 3 o'clock. So, uh,
Yeah. I
is
need to go get some
normally when you
food.
want to go and get some eat. So,
Mm.
do you have you know, any thoughts concerning what we've kind of covered, or anything that you want to kind of get off your chest concerning this
No,
so
I think
far,
I might
or?
need to look for some video that shows like examples of what this is doing,
Hmm,
how this is actually working.
yeah, we might need to do that. Well, let's when we cover through um, when we get through all of the working with sound,
Mm-hmm.
we're on this topic of working with sound, and we're going through all these additional topics and stuff like that. Um, maybe it'd be in our best interest to like go back through this, like find the topics that really kind of made us struggle a little bit,
Yeah.
and see if there's some YouTube videos that we can. Oh, I don't really want to play them during our streams because,
No.
um, again, copyright and all that kind of jazz. I don't necessarily want to screw those guys over in that regard. Um, because we'd have to make it transformative if anything, and then even then, I'm really bad at that and doing that, because bad editor.
Yeah.
But still, we might need to kind of cover over it a little bit, like maybe. Obviously, we won't necessarily. Maybe we'll play it during our stream, but you and I will hear it, but we'll like turn it off for everybody else. I don't know. Um, hard. Might be a little difficult for me to go about doing that. I don't know. Or we may need to just kind of watch them off stream. So, um, if anybody has any suggestions for videos that might try to help explain some of these topics or some of these subtopics, then please feel free to speak up and let us know. Provide us links, provide us explanations, real world examples to try to say, hey, this is how you need to kind of go about thinking it. Whatever, you know, please feel free to speak up and let us know. But I think that's where we're going to go ahead and call it for tonight, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick Blackheart out so he can go and get himself some food,
Yep.
and then so that he can enjoy Star Rail later on tonight.
Yep. Hopefully this
Um,
time the poll gives me what I want and not give me something that's not even on the banner.
hmm, I hear you on that one. Although two characters that are currently on the banner, it's like I wasn't really that impressed with either of them per se, but that's me. I really wish the last banner was still active. I would have loved to have gotten Silver Wolf, but
Yeah.
um, but oh well. That's can't do anything anymore about that. So um, but I don't know. Is there a character that you liked? Well, actually, let me.
Right now I'm trying to get
I'm
Blade, honestly, or anyone that can deal some damage, especially after the last boss I did from the uh, new like event that was added, at least a story part of it, which I advise you do before doing your Equilibrium because it's a tough boss.
mm,
Um, I need someone that can deal damage. Blade is one of
okay.
those.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording here. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Feel free to do like and subscribe. Help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Check out our descriptions. Both of ours. Like if you can help us out both, that would be fantastic. Would love that. Um, you know, Feel free to give a comment on either of our videos or both. Either, both can be fine just as much. Both would be helpful. Um, but that's where we're going to go ahead and end our Unreal portion of the stream. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I catch you next time. Till then, take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy, stay safe. I'll catch you strangers next time. And that's my recording end.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to do your own outro right now
Eh,
and still kind of discuss Star Rail later, but
no. Just gonna close down and then, like, I'll exit the stage, do a little outro speech, and close down the stream.
okay. But yeah, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Blade a little bit. Yeah, again, I don't really like characters that really hurt themselves, um, but I mean, Blade is a 5-star wind character, so
That does a
and I do
lot of
need,
damage.
yeah,
Like, he may hurt
and
himself, but every 5 times he gets hit, he heals himself.
yeah, so, um, so yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, you know, he's a risk, but at the same time, you know, I do need someone that's a wind-based character that's 5-star that can do a ton of damage. You know, right now, what's his name? Dan. He's not cutting it in
Don
terms of,
Hong.
yeah. He's really my only like damage dealer when it comes to wind right at this moment in time. So
Yeah, in my case, is that twink of Yang Qing.
okay.
Like, he's okay, but definitely did not perform on that boss battle.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't done anything with that new event. I have no idea what the event is even about, to be honest. So, but I think I'll go ahead and cover it today, seeing that it's like ending soon. I think it's ending within like the next week or two.
I don't remember. I think these type of events, they don't exactly end. Well, the story part may end, but the other part won't.
Yeah. Not sure.
And that story part, how long did it take me? Like 3 hours with my team, maybe a little more. So I didn't get to do much on the on what I unlock afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna be working on that today and what I unlocked. See if I can get some stellar
Yeah.
jades out of that to try and pull again.
Yeah. Well, I should have uh, enough tickets. You know, I'm getting the 3 today, and that should give me another 10 pull. So, although I might want to like check to see if there's like an update as to like, you know, what the next banner is going to be, so that I can see like, you know, should I save them for next banner or something like that. I don't really know. But
I think Kafka's one of them. I don't know if there's gonna be another one.
yeah. Kafka already? Seems a little odd, but I mean, she was out a little bit ago, so.
Remember, there are not that many characters yet.
Yeah, but they haven't gone through the full rotation yet, or they haven't shown all the characters that I've, you know. At least I don't think they've gone through all the characters. I kind of doubt they have. So, I don't know. We'll find out. But, all right, my friend. You get going. You get yourself something to eat, and I'll catch you next time. Feel free to stop on by if you want to chat more about Star Rail later tonight. But that's, you know, I'll leave that up to you if you want. Or, you know, I'll you know, if you have your stage open, then I'll, you know, and I want to discuss something, I'll come to you. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, man. Talk with you later.
Right. Bye.
Right, bye.
Okay, let me switch to the other thing, because I'm going to close down this stream right now. Sorry for the chihuahua going bananas in the background. What do you expect? It is a chihuahua. But yeah, I'll be back in roughly an hour. I'm gonna go get myself something to eat. I don't do it on stream because I just don't like eating on stream. So, yep. Okay. I hope you enjoyed your stream. Like Jim said, if anyone understands some of that stuff or knows a video that explains some stuff we covered, like explains it a little better, leave it down the link down the description below. How often do you live stream? Do you have a schedule? Yes, I have a schedule. Yes, like every Wednesday to Monday I have the Unreal for about an hour. I'm about to end it right now, that Unreal. Then I stop, go get something to eat, and like every day from 9:30 GMT -3 on, I do game. Except on Tuesdays where it's Blender and Krita. Today's game is gonna be Honkai Star Rail. Wednesdays and Sundays, Genshin. Saturday, single player game. Right now, currently doing Rebel Galaxy, and Fridays is Warframe. I'm thinking about maybe changing the game on Wednesdays. Haven't decided on that yet. Well, we shall see. Right now, I'm gonna stop. I'll need to update my schedule over my Discord at some point and put it up. Just haven't had time because of the heat. I'm not in my room as much time and using my computer because I'm afraid of overheating it. But hopefully I can update that schedule sometime soon. Okay, so again, I am gonna close down and I'm gonna get myself something to eat. So see you guys in a little bit. Bye bye for now.